What's going on, guys? Today I'm back with another H.A.T format replay review for you guys. If you're interested in sending in your H.A.T format replays, you can go down to the video description and find all the information on how to go about sending those in. Anyways, the match I have for you today, we have Codio, sorry if I mispronounce your name, who is going to be on Scraps, versus Riftwa, who is going to be on Archfiends. So these are both decks that you don't see that often, but I think both have a lot of potential, and hopefully this is going to be a good match. I'll probably have to read over a handful of cards in this match, as I know a lot of people probably aren't that familiar with either of these. But yeah, hopefully this will be a good match, but the only way to really see is to check it out. So let's get straight into this. Here it looks like Cody does win the rock, paper, scissors, and we'll get to start this one out. Opening hands, we see Scrap Orthros, Scrap Storm, Scrap Beast, Forbidden Lance, and another copy of Scrap Storm. And on the other side, we see Archfiend's Roar, Needle Sealing, Dark Arm, Soul Charge, and Tour Guide. And here, Cody will get a draw for turn, getting a copy of Scrap Factory. So Scrap Factory is really good. It says all Scrap monsters gain 200 attack and defense. When a face-up Scrap monster on the field is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, except during the damage step, you can special summon a Scrap monster from your deck, and you can only use this effect of Scrap Factory once per turn. And then we have Scrap Beast that says if this face-up defense position card is targeted for an attack at the end of the damage, or at the end of the battle phase, destroy this card. If this card is destroyed by the effect of a scrap card and sent to the graveyard, you can target one scrap monster in your graveyard except Scrap Beast, add that target to your hand. And then Orthros is able to special summon itself. It can't be normal summoned or set, but it can be special summoned while you control a scrap monster. If it's summoned this way, you target a scrap monster you control, destroy it, and if this card's destroyed by a card effect of a scrap card and sent to the graveyard, you can target a scrap monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So pretty cool card. And then Scrap Storm is honestly really, really good as well. It's target one scrap monster you control, send one scrap monster from your deck to the graveyard, then draw one card, and then destroy that monster. So basically this kind of gets you cards in graveyards, so then your scrap monsters can add it back or whatever, as well as getting a draw and being able to, for example, trigger your Scrap Factory. So anyways, here it looks like Scrap Factory is activated, then Scrap Beast is going to be summoned, and Scrap Storm is then activated after that to target a scrap monster you control, and then send one to graveyard, and then they'll draw one and destroy one. So here, getting rid of that Scrap Beast, sending a copy of Scrap Chimera, which is kind of like a wolf bark, and then drawing into another copy of Scrap Beast. After that, the Beast is going to add back the copy of Chimera, and the Factory is going to trigger to summon a copy of Scrap Golem. Anyone who's played like modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Has probably seen this card before. It says once per turn, target one level 4 or lower scrap monster in your graveyard, special summon that target to either player's field. So here they're adding the copy of Scrap Chimera, and after that, the Golem is going to special summon back the copy of Beast, which is a tuner. So here they can, they're actually not going to synchro or anything, just keeping a bit of a wall, potentially more chances to trigger the Scrap Factory, as well as having the other copy of Scrap Storm and setting that copy of Lance. From here, Riftway is going to draw into a copy of Archfiend Emperor, the first Lord of Horror. This card is also very strong. And so from here, it looks like Riftway is going to start out by taking a second to think, summoning Tour Guide, using the effect to summon a copy of Archfiend Hyrus. Most of us know this from Infernity, and here they are going to overlay into a copy of Zenmaines, go to battle phase, and run into the copy of Scrap Golem, which Cody says is good. And then here, the Zenmaines is going to protect itself, which does technically detach for the effect. So this Hyrus will be able to trigger. It says if this card is sent to the graveyard because of a card effect or being destroyed by battle, you can add an Archfiend card from your deck to your hand, except itself. So really strong card there. So here that is going to trigger, and they're going to add another copy of the first Lord of Horror here. And after that, go to main phase 2 and set a couple back row, going to end phase, and now Zenmaines will trigger because it was, almost destroyed there. But it looks like in end of main phase 2, Cody is going to activate this other Scrap Storm, so they are going to target the Beast, and then send a copy of Chimera, draw into a Trap Trick Trap Hole Nightmare, and then here the copy of the Beast is going to trigger and the Factory, so getting another copy of the Golem here, and then adding back the other copy of Chimera. Here in the end phase, the Zenmains is going to pop. Let's see what they go for. Taking a second to think, they're going to go and pop the copy of Lance that's set. And then here Cody will draw into a copy of Terraforming, so it's almost like, you know, Cody was wishing they would pop this factory, you know, without even knowing at that point. Here they're going to go to main phase, activate the Scrap Golem to summon back a copy of Scrap Beast. And from here, let's see what they do. Oh, it looks like Archfiend Roar is going to be activated and then chaining this copy of Needle Sealing. So here, Needle Sealing is going to attempt to destroy all the face-up monsters. Zenmains can protect itself, and then the Roar is kind of like a Call the Haunted, if I remember correctly. Pay 500 life points, then target one Archfiend monster in your graveyard. Special summon that target, but it cannot be tributed. Also, it is destroyed during the end phase. So here, going and bringing back that copy of Archfiend Hyris. After that, it looks like Cody is going to normal summon the copy of Scrap Chimera. Riftwa says it's good, and just to quickly go over Chimera, it says cannot be used as synchro material except for the synchro summon of a scrap monster, and all other materials must be scrap monsters. When this card is normal summoned, you can target one scrap tuner in your graveyard, special summon that target. So here bringing out the Beast, then they can special the Orthros, use the effect, pop the copy of Beast, and the factory will trigger. So here summoning a copy of Scrap Shark, and then Beast is going to add back the copy of Golem. Scrap Shark says when an effect monster's effect or a spell or trap is activated, destroy this face-up card on the field. If this card is destroyed by the effect of a scrap monster, or scrap card, my apologies, and sent to the graveyard, you can send one scrap monster from your deck to your graveyard. Alrighty, and after that, it looks like a Synchro Summon is going to occur. Which one is the tuner here? The Orthros is. So going for a copy of Scrap Dragon, and from here, they're going to take a second to think, and it looks like just adjusting the attack because of the factory. Going to battle phase, Scrap Dragon is going to attack over the copy of Zenmains, and then the Chimera is going to walk over the Hyris, which is going to trigger to add a copy of Archfiend Cavalry. This card says if this card on the field is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target an Archfiend monster in your graveyard, except itself, special summon it, but it cannot attack this turn. Alright, after that, going to main phase 2 and setting the copy of Traptrix Trapple Nightmare before passing it over to Riftwa, who gets a copy of Allure, very strong draw, activating it, drawing into a Warning and Lance, and banishing a copy of that Archfiend Emperor. And after that, they are going to normal summon Archfiend Cavalry, go to battle phase, and crash into that copy of Scrap Chimera. My guess here would be they were just crashing it, maybe not to go and actually out the Chimera, more so maybe to out this back row, as well as how many Darks do they have in graveyard? 1, 2, 3. Oh, so if anything, that does make the Dark Arm live. So, oh yeah, and here they are going to special summon that copy of Dark Arm, use the effect banishing Tour Guide to go after the factory, but here Traptrix Trapple Nightmare is going to try to check that, but Riftwood does have the copy of Lance to protect the Dark Arm, so very strong. So here the factory will get popped. After that, they can banish the Cavalry to pop the Scrap Dragon. Now, this is something a lot of people forget about. Scrap Dragon actually does have a scrap effect, and it says when this card in your possession is destroyed by your opponent's card and sent to the graveyard, target one non-synchro scrap monster in your graveyard, special summon that target. So here they can go for the Golem, but the Dark Arm does still have another pop, so here banishing the Hyris to pop the Golem before setting a copy of Warning, which is obviously a great card to have, and over to Cody, who gets a copy of Call the Haunted, so not a bad draw there, but it is going to be a little slow. Here Terraforming is activated to add a copy of Scrap Factory, activating the Factory, and then normal summoning Chimera, but here Solemn Warning is going to check the Chimera, so Rift was getting a little low, but they definitely are in a more commanding position here, and then here Cody does set that Call the Haunted before passing over to Riftwa, who gets an Armageddon Knight. Okay, so interesting. Here's going for the Armageddon Knight, sending a copy of Hyris. Hyris can add any Archfiend card. So adding a copy of that Archfiend's Roar, which is, again, that Call the Haunted, so pretty good. After that, they can activate the Dark Armed to banish the Hyris to pop the Factory again. Really keeping them off of that Factory is so important before going to battle phase and running in with the Armageddon Knight. But here it looks like Call the Haunted's going to be activated to bring back the Scrap Dragon. Obviously, Scrap Dragon has the same amount of attack as the Dark Arm, so stopping all the damage there is pretty good, and I think Rift was out of Darks and Grave, which they are. So just over to Cody, who gets another copy of Terraforming, so they will get to that Factory if, you know, they have more, which... Do they only have 2 here? So are they maybe only on 2 Factory, or they're just not going for it here? a little bit interesting, but let's see here. They're going to summon the Scrap Beast, and they are, using the Scrap Dragon to pop both of them. And then from here, it looks like the Beast is going to add back that copy of Chimera. Just one more time for Beast, it says that if this card is destroyed by the card effect of a scrap card and sent to the graveyard, you can target one scrap monster in your graveyard, except Scrap Beast, and add that target to your hand. So just adding that back, and then the Scrap Dragon will walk over the Armageddon Knight, going to main phase 2 bluff, setting that copy of Terraforming, and over to Riftwar, who gets another copy of Tour Guide. Okay, so they should have more targets here. Summoning Archfiend Emperor that says you can normal summon this card without tributing, but its original attack and defense become halved. If summoned this way, this card is destroyed during the end phase. You cannot special summon any monsters except Fiend monsters, and once per turn, you can banish one Archfiend card from your hand or graveyard, target one card on the field, then destroy it. So very strong card. And here they are going to use it, banishing the Roar to pop the copy of Call of the Haunted, which will get rid of the copy of the Scrap Dragon. And now they're just taking a second to think here. And that was very good because that does play around, Scrap Dragon's effect because it wasn't destroyed by an opponent's card. Anyways, after that, Soul Charge is activated, but they're really low on life, so it is risky going for the copy of Armageddon Knight and then using that to send the copy of Hyris. And one second, let me just reread this. You cannot special summon any monsters except Fiend monsters. So they actually can't summon this Armageddon Knight, if I'm not mistaken, because of that. And here they're sending a copy of Hyris. Hopefully that won't come up, but if I'm not mistaken, yeah, there's nothing really much else to it. It just says you cannot special summon any monsters except Fiend monsters. So they can't actually go for this here. Here, sending that Hyris to add a copy of Archfiend Horror. Again, guys, mistakes sometimes do happen. They might be new to this deck, and it's not the most common deck, as I mentioned before. So, give them a little break on this one. But here, setting that copy of Archfiend Roar, and then in the end phase, the Archfiend Emperor will destroy itself. After that, Cody will draw into a copy of Summoner Monk. Would have almost been good to hold that Terraforming, but here they're going to go for Scrap Chimera, using the effect to bring back the Beast. And after that, synchroing into a copy of Scrap Dragon, using the effect, popping the back row and popping the Armageddon Knight here, going to battle phase. And here the Roar is going to go in, summoning a copy of Hyris, and going to end phase. Here the Hyris destroys itself. And can this not, let me see if this card is sent by a card effect or being destroyed. Oh, so maybe they're out of Archfiend targets already, or maybe this, let me see, Tribute also is destroyed during the end phase of this turn. Oh, so maybe they are out of targets or something, because this is an if effect as well. So it shouldn't miss timing or anything there. Here, Riftwood gets a copy of Mind Control, and they're going to go for the Tour Guide, summon another copy of Tour Guide here. After that, going for a copy of Zenmanes and Defense. Here, Cody gets a copy of Scrapstorm. They're going to tribute for the Golem. Use the Golem to bring back the copy of Beast. And from here, they're going to take a second to think. Go for the Storm, getting rid of the Beast and sending a copy of Scrap Goblin, drawing into a copy of Book of Moon. So real quickly, let's also go over what the Goblin does. I remember this one kind of from back in the day. Cannot be destroyed by battle at the end of the battle phase. If this face-up defense position card is targeted for an attack, destroy this card, and if this card is destroyed by a card effect of a scrap card and sent to the graveyard, you can target a scrap monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Okay, so just sending that, and after that, it looks like the Beast is going to trigger to add a copy of that Chimera before setting Book of Moon and passing it to Riftwa, who gets a copy of Lance. After that, they are going to just normal summon the Archfiend Lord, and Book of Moon is going to be chained to that to stop that. Oh, but Lance is going to be activated, and here the Emperor can banish a copy of Roar to pop the Golem and just go to battle phase, inflicting a lot, but it is half. Just keep that in mind. They took 7. Oh, wait. What did they? Oh, they popped this with the effect. So why is this only 7? I thought its attack becomes halved. So shouldn't that be 15 unless I miss? Oh, they lanced it. Right. That is my bad there. And then here, Cody gets a copy of Soul Charge. They're going to summon Chimera, use the effect, bring back the Beast. We have seen this before. Going for a copy of Black Ship of Corn, and that is going to wrap it up. So luckily, that little Soul Charge play, if that was incorrect, actually didn't matter because Cody still took that one. Moving on into game number 2, though. Opening hands, we see Scrap Beast, Soul Charge, Pot of Duality, Soul Charge, and Scrap Golem. So I would say not the strongest hand from what we've seen, but this duality might put in work. And on the other side, we see Blackhorn of Heaven, Solemn Warning, Soul Charge, Archfiend's Roar, and Fire Hand. So a very trap-heavy hand. The Blackhorn and the Warning and even a Fire Hand is very good for Riftwa, who will also get a draw of the Emperor here. So not the worst hand, I would say. Here they're just going to set the hand, set 2 back row over to Cody, who gets a copy of the Scrap Storm. So now a very strong card. They're going to summon the copy of Beast, but that is going to be met with Warning, shutting that down right away. But here the duality can be activated, going for a Mind Control Summoner Monk and a copy of Scrapyard. Putting back the Mind Control. Scrapyard is basically your searcher for your Scrap Tuner monsters, and over to Riftwa, who gets a copy of Trade-In, which is like the perfect draw given they do have this Emperor here, and they are going to do just that, drawing into Dark Arm and MST, and if anything, now this Archfiend's Roar is live, and so that's pretty good. Obviously not for this turn, but here they set 2, and over to Cody, who gets a copy of Terraforming, which will get them to that field spell, but we do know that Riftwa has the MST, so that probably isn't going to resolve too much if plays start happening. Here, the Scrap Beast is going to be summoned off the Soul Charge, Scrap Storm is going to be chained, and Riftwa says it's good, so sending a copy of that Chimera and drawing into an Orthros, the copy of, the Beast is triggering here to add back the Chimera, and then the Factory is attempting to activate, but here MST is going to check that, and here the Chimera will be added to hand though, and after that, Cody can normal summon this copy of Scrap Chimera because they haven't normal summoned this turn yet. So from here, it looks like they're going to summon that copy of Scrap Beast, and then go Mind Control, taking the copy of Fire Hand, and then synchroing for, oh, they did the wrong thing. Here it looks like, what are they doing here? Are they still synchroing, or what are they going for? I guess they're just repairing everything, and they are instead synchroing for a copy of Scrap Dragon. I think it was because of this, right? Cannot be used as synchro material except for the synchro summon of a Scrap monster, and the other monster must be a Scrap monster. So obviously they couldn't use the Fire Hand, and then Scrap Beast, I think, doesn't have that restriction. Yeah, okay, so here they can go for the Scrap Dragon. And Riftwa's going to take a second to think, and they are going to Blackhorn that. And here Scrap Dragon can trigger because it says when this card in your possession is destroyed by your opponent's card and sent to the graveyard. So that's very similar to, say, like Cyber Dragon Nova and just a handful of other cards. So even though it technically wasn't summoned, it was destroyed by the opponent while in your possession. So here, summoning back a copy of Scrap Beast and then synchroing into a Stardust Spark, which... let me see, this cannot be used for synchro except for the synchro of a Scrap monster. So they actually can't go for this. Hopefully they will catch that. Oh, nope. Okay, so they did catch it. So nice. Cody is very on top of their game in terms of what they can and can't do, making sure not to cheat anyone. So going for that copy of Scrap Dragon. And after that, just passing to Riftwa, who unfortunately gets a copy of Ice Hand. Cody doesn't have any spell or trap, so that's not really live right now. How many darks are they on? Oh, just the one dark, so the Dark Armed isn't very live. They could maybe go for a Soul Charge play with the Fire Hand and just use the Ice Hand as material to maybe make a 101 and take this, but it doesn't leave them with much. Oh, they do have the Archfiend's Roar, though, so that is pretty solid, summoning back this copy of the Emperor, and now they do have an Archfiend card in graveyard, so they can banish it to pop the Scrap Dragon, but that can float into the Scrap Beast, though that's not really going to do too much. Ice Hand is normal summoned, swinging over the Beast, and then the Archfiend attacking in. And this one, it only has the halved attack when summoned by normal summon, so that is going to do 3,000 damage, so very, very strong. And let me just, this way is destroyed during the end phase. This destroy it during the end phase as well. Okay, so that's why it got destroyed here. Cody draws into a copy of Call of the Haunted. They're going to Soul Charge for double Scrap Dragon and a copy of Beast. So making a very big push here, taking a little risk given they only have 1,000 life, going for the Scrap Dragon to pop the copy of Ice Hand, and then the Beast is going to add back the copy of Chimera, setting the Call of the Haunted over to Riftwa, who gets a copy of Allure, so giving them a chance to get back in this game, drawing into a Blackhorn and an Armageddon Knight, and probably banishing, the Dark Armed, going and normal summoning Armageddon Knight, sending another Armageddon Knight. Oh, maybe not. Maybe they're trying for the High-Risk here, which we've seen before. No, they are going to go for that so that they can make a big Soul Charge play, going for Ice Hand, Fire Hand, and an Armageddon, using the Armageddon Knight to send the copy of High-Risk, getting a copy of the Archfiend Emperor, overlaying into a copy of Rhapsody in Berserk, and here they're going to use the effect, banishing the Beast. Oh, which is, Cody is going to counter that with the Call of the Haunted, and then banishing just a Mind Control with the other material just to get some sort of use out of it before overlaying into a Black Ship of Corn and getting rid of the Beast. And unfortunately, that is going to cost Cody the game there. But moving on into a game number 3, honestly, pretty crazy back and forth for what these two decks are, but hopefully this last one will be a good one. Opening hands, we see Scrap Yard, Soul Charge, Scrap Storm, another Scrap Storm, and a Duality. So again, a slightly slower opening, but I could see this being pretty decent. And on the other side, trade in DD Crow, Dark Armed, the Archfiend Emperor, and Ice Hand. So also a pretty decent hand here from Rifto as well, and here Cody will get a draw, getting a copy of Call of the Haunted, and they're going to start with Scrap Storm, being able to add, again, a Scrap Tuner from deck to hand, and adding that Scrap Beast. They're going to normal summon it, go Scrap Storm, go Scrap Storm. Oh, so you can stack these? Oh, because I guess the only restriction with this is you have to target a scrap monster. That's the cost. So very interesting to be able to do that. And so here they'll get 2 sends, sending the Shark and Chimera, and then drawing 2, getting Bottomless and Debunk. After that, the Beast is going to trigger to add back the copy of Chimera. And so I just want to double check this. Again, I'm not the most familiar with this deck. I've messed with it a little when it had got all this support, and I do have a couple lists made for this, but I haven't really looked at it in a long time. So this does destroy it, right? And destroy that monster. Okay, cool. So here, after that, they are going to go for Duality, revealing Mathematician, Golem, and Terraforming, and taking that copy of Terraforming here, putting the others back. So now they do have access to the field spell, which they are going to add here. And after that, setting 3 and passing it over to Riftwa, who now gets a copy of Maxi. They are going to start their turn with that trade-in, as we figured, and drawing a copy of Blackhorn and Armageddon Knight. After that, Armageddon Knight is normal summoned, sending a copy of High-Risk, and here Debunk is going to negate and banish that copy of High-Risk, so pretty solid right there for them. And then Riftwa will go to battle phase and attack in main phase 2, sending that copy of Blackhorn over to Cody, who gets a copy of Fiendish Chain. And let's see what they do. They're going to start with activating the Factory and then normal summoning the Chimera and trying to bring back, I don't exactly know their target here. This just is any scrap monster. So it could realistically be either, I'd assume probably the Beast here, and then DD Crow's going to be chained to that, but the Call of the Haunted's going to be chained to that. So bringing back the copy of Beast, and Maxi's going to be chained to the Call of the Haunted, so Riftwa gets the copy of Roar here, and after that, going to battle phase, running over the Armageddon Knight, and then running in with the Scrap Beast to do some damage, setting the Fiendish Chain over to Riftwa, so not playing into it anymore. There's not really a need to exactly in this position. They have some good back row, as well as maybe they remember the Blackhorn from the last game, as well as, yeah, just not wanting to give Riftwa more draws. Here Riftwa gets a copy of Trade-In, which it's not great here, but let's see. They're going to start with Ice Hand, so that is a solid one here. And they will be able to attempt to run into the Scrap Beast, but the Fiendish Chain is going to stop that. And, okay, so that's like a pretty solid counter, especially given Riftwood doesn't have a Lance. Here they can summon the Dark Arm, so maybe they did. Oh, they did have 3 Dark, so that is pretty decent, but we know that Cody has this copy of Bottomless here, and they are going to activate it. After that, Riftwood just sets the copy of Archfiend's Roar and passes it over to Cody, who gets a copy of the Goblin. And from here, they're going to synchro into Scrap Dragon. Here we do see that copy of Blackhorn. The copy of Scrap Dragon will trigger to summon back the Beast. Next, Soul Charge will trigger, and they're taking a second to think. They were trying to go for the Scrap Dragon, but its summon was negated, so they actually can't go for it. So instead, going for the Chimera and Shark here. And they are going to get both of those through, and Rifto's going to take a second to think here. They say it's good, and then they will synchro into a copy of Scrap Dragon regardless. Moving along, though, it looks like Scrap Dragon's going to activate, going for the Beast and the back row. Rifto says it's good, so popping that copy of Archfiend's Roar, which wouldn't have really done anything to bring back this Emperor, unfortunately. And here Beast is going to add back the copy of Chimera. And this isn't once per turn or anything? No, it isn't. And so here the factory is going to activate something, a copy of Golem, and then from here they are going to normal summon the Chimera. Oh, this was all off of the Soul Charge, wasn't it? They didn't even normal summon yet. Okay, so very big play here. And here overlaying into Black Ship to clear the copy of Ice Hand, doing 1,000 damage, and after that using the Golem to bring back the copy of Beast. And let's see what they choose to do. Just passing turn here. Here, Rifta gets a copy of Armageddon Knight. They're going to normal summon it, sending a copy of Hyris to add a copy of the Emperor. So now this trade-in is live, drawing into a Tour Guide and a Max C. That's not going to do it. And it looks like Cody is going to take this one with scraps. Honestly, kind of impressive, pretty cool to see. Obviously, both of these decks are very much so rogue decks, but I haven't really got to see much of this in, actual form other than back in the day. I think there was Archfiends that played at like an ARG or something. And then I remember I messed around, as I mentioned, with scraps back in the day, but it has been a little while. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. I might have, so apologies in advance. But either way, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it, comment any questions or videos you want to see in the future, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified anytime I put a new video out, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to go down to the video description to find out how you can send in your hat format replays, whether you won or lost. If you thought the deck you or your opponent was playing was pretty cool, feel free to send those in. I'm sure a lot of people would love to see them. But anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video.